Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to some part of the world. My name is Prashant Nair, and we are back with another edition of our FIIOB podcast. Before I actually introduce a panel and what the topic is about, I would just like to remind you that click on the bell icon, subscribe for more content. Also, follow our other FIIOB channel for live match updates. So, like I said, before I introduce the panel, it's a hot topic. Almost everyone in world football who are at least concerned with football are speaking about it. And I think Patrick Bamford made a very valid claim that if such kind of a riot was raised because of the issue of racism, the world would have been a better place. But we're not talking about racism today. We are talking of the creation of ESL, the European Super League, as it is called as. Only God knows why it is super and why is it even a league. But having said all of that, we have four people with us. We have Anish and Faraz, who think that ESL might be a game changer in the world of football. And we have Shreyas and Viv, who think ESL might just damage football in the long run. So without holding much back, I'll straight away go to Faraz first. Faraz, I just want to know your genuine opinion on this. You said that you are for the creation of this ESL. Why would you say that? Just a curious question. What makes you think that ESL is needed?
See, overall, बड़े club हैं, छोटे club हैं, there are various stratas of club, right? Or for
Correct.
every club except the Premier League, मतलब the topmost league, the leagues are competitive because they tend to lose their best and worst teams at the end of every season, right?
Correct.
लेकिन ये is not valid for a host of clubs across Europe. The likes of United, Chelsea, City, Madrid, Barcelona, they don't care about relegation. उन लोग को फर्क नहीं पड़ता. They are not gonna get relegated. So what? And even then, their places in the Champions League are more or less confirmed. तो वहां पर competitiveness कहाँ से आएगा? For the sake of this competitiveness, I think लीग का कॉन्सेप्ट ही है कि मतलब 20 टीम similar levels पे in terms of quality home and away खेले to determine which is the best team. Right. Now, if the ocean of quality is that wide, कि मतलब it's effectively lambs to slaughter kind of a scenario. Therein, we require a scenario where we require a situation जहां पर हम लोग सारी बड़ी clubs आपस में खेलते रहें. That is where the concept of ESL makes a lot more sense.
It's a typical Americanization of the sport. ना मतलब NFL जैसा हो गया ये तो सीधा.
NFL जैसा यूरो लीग ऑफ बास्केटबॉल भी कुछ हद तक ऐसा ही है जहां पे 10 टीम फिक्स या 7 टीम गेस्ट के तौर पे आते हैं. और all of these systems are effectively, even IPL is something along these lines, right? And even if IPL हम लोग देख लेंगे तो it has led to an overall improvement of cricket in India, which
Correct.
I thought was on the fence. I was on the fence on that perspective. लेकिन over time I've seen a tangible increment. इंग्लैंड में जाके इंडिया सीरीज जीता, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जाके इंडिया सीरीज जीता. सही हो रहा है. I think something similar will come up with ESL. If not, matlab the current scenario is not great and ESL might be a pretty good solution.
Fair enough for us. I mean, I understand when you said that the lambs are going to get slaughtered either way, and the big clubs are not bothered about the relegation and stuff. But before I actually take this point ahead, I would want to know Viv's opinion. Viv, you've been a founding member of a group, right? A Facebook group, which is FIIOB, and you already have seen the ups and downs as a football fan from the clubs you support, be it Chelsea or Valencia, whichever club you support, right? It's always been an up and down journey. The moment you introduce ESL, don't you think you're taking away the ethos of what or why football as a sport is a greatest leveler? Or do you think that ESL is just like, you know what, it's just a league, but it's only a money-making gimmick?
See, first of all, I think the timing of the introduction of ESL is very important.
Correct.
You see, amidst this pandemic, there are no people in the stands. And if you see in the long run, we are not absolutely sure when these people will come back in the stands.
Absolutely.
So of course, these clubs have taken into account the TV viewership, not the fans who come there with season tickets, go and watch their teams play day in, day out.
Correct.
So the prime reason behind this is absolutely money making.
Yeah.
And if you look at it closely, I was listening to the press conferences of Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, and Guardiola.
Not Bielsa, not Bielsa. Like the teams which are involved. I mean, it's absolutely I'm absolutely surprised to know that none of these managers knew even like a day before that they are going to participate in ESL. So none of them were consulted. It was absolutely the decision of the 12 owners.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason is just, they have incurred losses during the pandemic. So have other clubs. So we have to recover the losses. So let's, form a multi-billion-dollar league.
Yeah. Fair enough. If you've actually hit the nail on the head saying that, it's a cartel of 12 people whose club or their owners, and they have faced, let's say, 300-400 million losses, and they have said that हमारा 400 million नुकसान हुआ है, हमको वो 400 रिकवर करना है, तो हम आपस में खेलेंगे क्योंकि सब बड़े क्लब है, सब एक दूसरे का मैच देखेंगे, एंड फैंस भी इन्वॉल्व ही हैं सब एक दूसरे के साथ, सो व्यूअरशिप आएगा. एब्सोल्युटली राइट. बट अनीश, this is where my question comes to you. When you say you're for the ESL, right? Faraz said very validly that these big clubs are not bothered about relegation and all that sort of stuff. I mean, you and me are Arsenal and United fans respectively, and we know Champions League is not assured every year. It doesn't happen to us. It happens once there is a lot of consistency and stuff. But even for us, right? Forget winning the league as of now for both the clubs, but that qualifying for the Champions League, that journey itself is so important for us, right? For us, Champions League is the big event, apart from Premier League or FA Cup. You want your club to be in Champions League every year. You want to fight with the best. You want to win. I'm sure you don't want to face Bayern Munich every now and then, but things have always gone wrong for Arsenal. And for United, we don't want to go in a Europa League every now and then. We also want to face the Champions League. But having said all of that, the moment you put this ESL, right, every week, United might face a Real Madrid in the group stage, or they might face a Barcelona in the quarterfinal. Don't you think the value of the fixture suddenly goes down? Because if you tell me that I'm going to face Barcelona, right, for me, the biggest memory always comes in 1998, the 3-3 game, the Paul Scholes winner, or Messi scoring that header in the Champions League final. That fixture is iconic for me. I am not going to deny that. But if you put it week in, week out, the fizz is suddenly out of the picture. So what makes you for ESL then?
Yeah, so you make a valid point, but I would just like to make a counterpoint. So Arsenal face Liverpool twice every year. They face Tottenham twice every year. But these are still big fixtures. So they have been facing these teams for, God knows how many decades. Every season 2 times, and more than 2 times sometimes in the cups. But still, the magic of these fixtures do not diminish. If you see any Liverpool versus Manchester United fixture, still you can see the crowds and you can see how rampant they are even now. So. Why would you think that a Barcelona versus Arsenal fixture would diminish in prestige or reputation if it is played multiple times? It is still Barcelona. It is still facing Barcelona. So I don't think that it will decrease at all. And regarding why I am for the ESL, I would like to make another point is that the current system that UEFA has, it just is not working. So you talk about a cartel of 12 clubs, but what about the cartel here? Have you seen what PSG has been doing? 400 million on 2 players. And where does it come from? It is backed by a country, same as Manchester City. And not just any country, a country who has been regularly accused, and they have been accused of human rights violations. And it has been proven also. But do you hear any hue and cry about the World Cup?
Just to add on to your point, Anish, Man City versus UEFA was a big joke in the court. UEFA was beaten by Man City by the same laws which UEFA had set, and that whole FFP saga or the transfer ban became a whole joke, and they took 9 months to delete. But having said that, Anish, the only reason why I interrupted you in between is 2 wrongs do not make 1 right. Don't you think so? If there are 2 people wrong, when they combine.
Yes, absolutely. Right, but don't you think that the ESL will level the playing fields for the clubs participating in that? See, a club like Arsenal. Okay, Arsene Wenger, he is an idealist. He has been saying since 10 years that no, FFP will come and we will be on a level field. But FFP came and it was a failure. PSG did what they wanted. Manchester City did what they wanted, and Chelsea, they were before FFP. But even we know they also did what they wanted. But and no one stopped them. There was no hue and cry. So my point is that it has already been done. Compared to that, the ESL will be a level playing field. These clubs will be receiving the same amount of money, almost the same amount of money. There will be some salary cap, as Perez said yesterday. So it will be a level playing field. And if you look, taking these clubs out of the Champions League, it's always like Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid. These are the clubs who are just rotating and winning the Champions League. If you take these clubs out of Champions League, even the Champions League becomes more competitive and unpredictable. So that's a boost for both the competitions. So we have been saying for long that the gap between the rich clubs and the poor clubs have been increasing, the big six and the others. Okay, yeah. So now when there is a chance that all the big clubs, they are going to be facing each other in a competitive league where it will be unpredictable, and the rest will be there in another league where also it will be competitive and unpredictable. I don't see what is the harm. And on top of that, it is the best deal available. So if you have a good deal, but you will always try to go for a better deal, right? For the industry as a whole. So like Perez said yesterday, the money that is coming in, so with that money, they are going to be buying players from the other teams. So the other teams are also going to be getting this money, getting a part of the pie. So like you remember what happened with Liverpool? They sold Coutinho for 150 and they won a league and a Champions League. So everyone is going to benefit from this, not just the clubs in the ESL alone. And that's why I would say I for the league.
You make a couple of valid points, but before I actually take that points and bring it as a discussion point, I just want to know Shreyas's opinion. Shreyas, like you rightly said, you are the youngest amongst all of us. For us, right? I'll just put myself in perspective. For me, football is the greatest leveler as a sport, because when I'm having a very bad day at work, when I'm very personally very down or whatever, I watch a football game with the fans around, of course. Sometimes I go in the stadium and watch a game or whatever. That joy of the fans getting involved in the game, where a McTominay scoring a winner in front of the Stretford end or whatever, just a hypothetical example. Okay, that joy of football is suddenly, I think, is going out, not because of lack of fans right now. I think with ESL, that's a personal opinion, with ESL around, the value of the club, the ethos of the bloody club, why it is being constructed, it is going out of the window. But Anish has made a very valid point in the sense saying that you play Tottenham twice a year, Liverpool twice a year. The value of the fixture does not diminish. If that is the case, Shreyas, why are you against ESL then? What makes you think that this is not good for football?
Okay, Prashant. So I will say this very clearly. I agree with everything being said till now. But there are a few things that I will be speaking, and I'll be using United as a perspective because I'm a United fan. So why was United created in the first place? United was created as Newton Heat FC on the back of industrial Manchester to bring, and people were crowding from all over the country to get, and they had no sense of belonging. The only sense of belonging they had at that moment was United, was Newton Heat FC.
Correct.
So United basically was a kind of connecting point for people all across the country who came to Manchester for jobs. This is the same scenario that has happened at Barcelona when people came to Catalonia during the Industrial Revolution. This happened with Bayern Munich in Bavaria during the Industrial Revolution. So these clubs were built on industrial workers. These clubs are built on the fans. That the minute we commercialize this, the minute we allow ESL to go forward, we basically threw away 100 years of tradition and say that, you know what, the fans don't matter, the money matters much more than us. And that is what kind of really irks me out. Anish said a very good point that people will be on a leveling playing field. But I have to ask this too. Do you genuinely think somebody like Joel Glazer or somebody like Stan Kroenke isn't going to take out money from that club? Do you really think 350 million is going to be spent on the club? I am worried that the 350 million coming to United will be taken out of United and be used for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for all I care. Because that has been happening.
Brady has bought a new house. Brady has bought a new house.
This is irritating as a United fan, because I am not confident we will be 350 million. I want Rice, I want Sancho. But will I get it with those 350 million? I am extremely sure I'm not going to get it with those 350 million. Another issue that I have is, Faraz mentioned a very good point that we will be seeing quality games. But my point is this: as a United fan, I know very realistically my club has a very low probability of making it to the top 4 in each group in the 2 pools of 10 teams. Now, once I'm mathematically out of the group, what is my motivation as a fan to watch that group anymore? Why will I be watching? Even in a normal league group, in a normal league, even if my club is not doing well, I still have Europa to come back on. I still have relegation to look forward to. I mean, not getting relegated. Once I am mathematically out and I am assured that I will be there next season, regardless of what I do in the league, what is my motivation to watch except for just viewing it as a neutral?
Fair point. So, I mean, Shreyas, you raised a very valid point, and the valid point which I think is, as a United fan, like you rightly said, you're not sort of top 4 every year. So there's a joy which you see in the journey when you fight for the top 4. But for us, I want to ask you this very genuinely, okay? You've been a Madrid fan, you know this real estate magnate who came and then won the election over and then got a famous guy from a rival club, etc., etc., etc. How much do you trust the gentleman when he's chairing a group like ESL? You as a Madrid fan know that if you had 2 bullets and if you had to shoot him down and there was Adolf Hitler, I know what you're going to choose, because you can't trust the gentleman, and your club has a history where the gentleman has just left midway and he's done what he wanted to do because his name is Florentino Perez. He can't be trusted that easily. Anish said something that he's going to, it's a cartel, right? Let me use the word. It's a cartel. It's 12 biggest clubs in world football. Okay, no disrespect to Tottenham or Arsenal or whoever are there who think that, it's pretty unfair or whatever. The 12 biggest clubs. Okay. Any sane man can see that these 12 clubs run a lot of things, including viewership for their respective leagues, the fans merchandising, money. I mean, these people are treasure, right? If these 12 people go out, the other league might just crumble. There are small teams there who are relying a lot on broadcast revenues when they play against these clubs. And on top of it, that league is headed by a man by the name of Florentino Perez, whose track record is for everyone to see, and the trust factor with him is always low. How do you think this ESL will survive on the whole? Because with Perez around, you actually don't know what is going to happen.
See, I'll answer both. I realize that you have asked 2 questions to me. One is the trustability of Perez, and second is whether the lower rung clubs depend on Real Madrid for broadcasting revenue. Not only Real Madrid, all the big ticket
clubs. Yeah,
correct. So I'll answer the second one first because it's shorter. The Madrid is not leaving the league as it is, right?
But they will be banned, right? That's what they said, right? They will be banned from the respective leagues.
I think that is hawa ki baatein ho rahi hain. I don't think they will be banned because they are the league, to be very honest. Leagues continue hoga. They are, as per the conversation, and to be very honest, the conversation changes all the time. अभी मैं कुछ बोलूंगा 10 मिनट बाद वो कुछ और ही एस्पेक्ट आ जाएगा उस पे, तो बहुत ही कॉमन हो गया ये चीज. लेकिन league will continue. The likes of Eibar and Huesca and Levante and Leganes will still play Madrid home and away. So they will still get their TV revenue wala deal. 1. 2, on this same answer, I'll refer to something which Anish said. Madrid will be getting 350 million plus X amount of money for participation in the ESL. If they buy players from these lower clubs, the lower clubs are still getting a slice of the pie.
When was the last time you bought from a lower club, man? You always look for the top talent.
That is not true. We bought Asensio, Isco, Iaramendi, a host of Odriozola.
No. My point is this. My point is this, Anish. My point is this for us. In the sense that when you say you're going to help the lower league clubs buy the players from them or whatever, but you are playing in ESL, right? You're going to face the likes of Man City. You're going to face the likes of, PSG is not there, but you're going to face the likes of Arsenal, United. So obviously, your eye would also be on talent who are bigger than the lower clubs as well. For example, with 350 million around, you will throw the money for Mbappe and Haaland and say, "Bhai, humko ye dono chahiye." Okay, everyone will get 350 million. Everyone will have their purse of 350 million. It always will depend on who's willing to spend on what. Level playing ground कहाँ हो गया यहाँ? यहाँ तो यही बात हो गई ना, पैसा मेरे पास भी है, पैसा तुम्हारे पास भी है, जो ज्यादा देगा वो ले लेगा प्लेयर को. लेवल प्लेइंग ग्राउंड तो हुआ नहीं. यहाँ तो एक दूसरे से ट्रेड हो गए, जैसे वो NBA में ट्रेड नहीं होता, फ्री ट्रेड्स. ये तो फ्री ट्रेड्स ही होने वाले यहाँ.
अगर आपस में हुआ तो I understand your point, लेकिन that is only factoring in अगर आपस में transfers हो रहा है तो. Take EPL for example. अगर किसी को मैडिसन को या फिर ग्रेलिश को उठाना है, कोई भी amongst the 6 or 5 or 4, अभी कितना काउंट हो गया मैं पता नहीं, उन क्लब्स को, तो they will have to pay from the 350 million. पैसा एस्टन विला के पास जा रहा है, a club outside the top 6. Right, that is just an example in case Madrid, if they have to buy the next Asensio, if Barcelona has to buy the next Pedri, so to say, वो लोग भी एक छोटे क्लब से ही उठाएंगे. और इस पर बड़े ESL प्लेयर्स का टैक्स भी लगेगा उस पर, इन द सेंस जैसे प्रीमियर लीग टैक्स एग्जिस्ट करता है कि प्रीमियर लीग के प्लेयर्स आर सोल्ड एट अ हायर प्राइस, राइट, वो वाला फैक्टर यहाँ पर भी आएगा। 20 मिलियन का प्लेयर 40 मिलियन पे जाएगा, तो वन वे और अनदर वी ओनली, मतलब कोई भी ट्रांसफर इज नॉट लिमिटेड ओनली टू द 12 क्लब्स इन क्वेश्चन, it is extended to all the clubs across the first and the second division for that matter. So yes, of course they are getting a slice of the pie, if not very often, fairly regularly. So that is the second question which you asked. Going back to the first question, Perez has really has had a roller coaster journey with Real Madrid. Lekin since the past 5 years, matlab, I have found that he has effectively done no wrong, except the signing. Matlab Rafa Benitez bhi 6 साल हो गया. He is doing 6 साल हो गया, करेक्ट. सैंटियो सोलारी को भी हायर करना वर्सेस स्टॉप गैप सॉल्यूशन, जोले लोपेटेगुई को भी हायर करना was amongst the best decisions at the point of time. मतलब he is a great manager, right? So Perez has really made amends over the past half a decade, and I'm using that as his antecedents instead of what he did about a decade and a half back. Considering that, I think he can really do a great job for Madrid. He has done a great job for Madrid, and having such a gangster president for the entirety of a dozen or maybe 20 clubs for that matter,
fax machine,
is beneficial for everyone. I think even Chelsea, Arsenal, United, Liverpool, सबके लिए वो काम कर रहा है. And since all the heads are in line with Perez's proposal, something which came up, I think in 2009, वो 12 साल से पीछे लगा हुआ है, correct. And of course, 12 साल से Perez जैसा बंदा, मतलब I would use the adjective genius to describe him, considering what he did with Luis Figo, and a host of other, even 12 Madrid का डेप्ट कम करना in 2006, वो स्टेडियम ग्राउंड बेच करके वापस पैसा जनरेट करना in 2009, what he has done financially, I think he is playing with his cards close to his chest. We do not know the complete picture as of now.
You use the right word, actually. You use the right word. He's doing his job financially. That's exactly what the bigger motive out of ESL is. But I just want to go to Viv here. Viv, you've heard almost everyone speak about what's their perspective towards the ESL and what they think. But my question still remains unanswered, and Faraz answered it to a fair amount. I'll not deny it. That where is the level playing ground what he's talking about? पैसा सबके पास हो गया ना. मतलब, for me, the joy of seeing a player who plays for a relegation team struggle, win hard, fight week in, week out, 38 games of the season, he does well, and then he earns this big money move to a Premier League club. For example, the one example which I can always think is Roy Keane. He played for Nottingham Forest. They were relegated. United broke the British transfer record fee and signed him. That whole journey of that player, right? Now suddenly, no one will want to play for the big in the Premier League. Everyone will say, मुझे ESL खेलना है क्योंकि अगर मेरा 10 मिलियन मार्केट वैल्यू है, अभी ESL की वजह से 40 मिलियन मिलेगा, तो क्लब को 10-15 मिलियन दे दो, बाकी पूरा मेरे जेब में. Then money factor comes in bigger picture, right? Or do you still think that a player, if he's determined, he's motivated, he'll still play for the glory of the game?
I think what this will, the level playing field which they are talking about, like the Anish and Faraz, it's basically about the 12 clubs. And I have absolutely no idea how these 12 clubs were selected in the very first place. I mean, like, it's absolutely like, I don't know, like, how Tottenham goes in there. Like, when is the last time they won? Like in 1960s or something? Yeah. Like, something they won, something.
League Cup भी 10 साल 15 साल पहले जीता था ना, League Cup भी.
12 साल.
Yeah, so I think like they probably just went through it because they were tweeting in Hindi and Bengali in Facebook. That's how they went into that's how they made it into ESL.
Commercial value.
Yeah, PR campaign, just PR. Like they made a supporter base and like just made it true. So the level playing ground you are saying is probably 12 clubs. That's for sure. Yeah, they are getting the equal amount of money and the thing. And talking about, you know, like club players, like take for example Vardy. Vardy rejected a move to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Vardy rejected a move to Arsenal, like a supposedly big club. He's still playing in the Leicester. He's a legend.
Yeah.
Leicester is sitting third. Arsenal is sitting ninth.
Proper working class hero ना. Vardy is an example of proper working class hero. मतलब 24-25 साल तक कोई exposure of football नहीं है. मतलब कोई medical field में काम कर रहा था, वो भी rack picker type job था. मतलब use syringes वो सब collect कर रहा था. Regularly kept playing football. From Fleetwood Town to a Premier League winner and top scorer of the league. And not to forget, he's still playing for Leicester. where the biggest clubs in world football offered him a chance. That is the joy of football, which I think ESL will take.
Exactly. Because at that, you won't get the likes of Vardy or the likes of Totti anymore. You won't get, because this will kill the game, and the players who become heroes for the the local town and stuff. Leave us. I mean, we are Indian supporters supporting it. But imagine someone from Rome or someone from Leicester idolizing these people.
Yeah,
this will be gone. Absolutely gone.
The worship or the hero factor will be gone. Shreyas, what we've said, right? And since you're a United fan, let me ask you this. Marcus Rashford is born, bred Manchester lad. He's thorough Manchester. There is no two ways about it. He's so passionate about the city that as soon as he saw about the millions of kids having that issue, and he went on to that drive where he started helping people, providing midday meals, etc., etc. That is always associated with the ethos of Manchester United as a football club, where caring for the community is as important as setting the right example in winning, right? That is what the club is all about. What we've rightly said, right? Then we will not have the story of Jamie Vardy. We will not have the story for the likes of, Francesco Totti, so on and so forth. Do you really agree to what we've said, or do you still think that, Rashford is a guy who's already has this value, and Manchester United was just one platform by which he could do it at a bigger level?
One thing I would like to modify, Viv is 95% correct over here, 5% wrong, is any youngster who will come through those 12 clubs may be viewed in such a way, but any other club won't, because simply speaking, if you have this kind of a league, this is very simple. If you have college basketball and then you have NBA, where would you like to play? You want to play in NBA, obviously. I mean, this is not a proper analogy, definitely, but you would always want to play at the highest levels of the sport. That is natural. So any youngster who grew up probably like a Portsmouth fan, or somebody who grew up like a Sevilla fan, they don't want to stay in these clubs anymore. They would want to move to a Chelsea, or they want to move to Atletico Madrid.
That's what I was just mentioning.
That is the highest level.
That's exactly what we've said. That's exactly what we've said, right? The likes of Vardy, where he could have had the biggest opportunity of his life for playing for Arsenal. Okay, make no mistake, Arsenal have had a bad decade or whatever, but they are one of the biggest.
They're a very big club. They're a very big club.
Yeah,
third place in England.
As big as their stadium is, they are a massive club, man. I mean, it's not a joke to play for Arsenal. I mean, so many players wanted to play, but they could not. But what we've said is exactly that. That joy, then the CSL will just take away it.
Exactly.
Anish, go on.
Just one thing I want to add, which really irks me about this a lot, is there are two clubs in this, which I have a real issue with being. So one is Tottenham. I have no idea. We have taken a random sample in 120 years of football, told this is the benchmark of where if this was happened 10 years ago, Tottenham would not be in the conversation. If this probably happened 10 years 101%. Later, Tottenham would not be in the conversation. Same can be said about Atletico Madrid. What have they done exactly in the last 10 years that they deserve to be in this? And with a clause that they will never be removed again. That is what irks me. There is a clause that they can never be removed from this league. I do not understand how that is functional in this. Because what exactly have these two clubs done on a European scale, even on a domestic scale, that they have a born right to be in this league forever till the end of millennia? That is my entire issue. We have given these clubs a kind of social status that they are gods, and the remaining 5 clubs just come like, the UNESCO. Exactly. That is my entire problem.
Anish, what Shreyas said has got a very valid point. I mean, you as an Arsenal fan know that for you, there is a bigger joy when you celebrate the St. Tottenham Day, because, it's above Spurs or whatever, right? But I always wanted to ask this question to an Arsenal fan, and it's been quite some time in my head, and with the ESL, it has just triggered me even more to a certain extent. मतलब क्या किया है आप लोगों ने, including United, 10-15 साल में बड़ा कुछ तीर तो मारा नहीं है ना दोनों क्लब ने. United, I'm just putting United out of the equation for time being, because it's a known fact. United have been dog shit for the last 13-14 years, and whatever has happened because of the easy excuses, Sir Alex Ferguson, Glazers, whatever. Okay, sab maan liya, I'm keeping them aside. Arsenal, okay, I'm just putting Arsenal. For a United fan like me growing up, I used to wait for the games at Highbury when United faced Arsenal at Highbury, because that was passion. That was football for me. I loved the Vieira and Roy Keane fight. I loved when Robert Perez was kicked. God bless his soul. Jose Antonio Reyes, we shot him off the ground or whatever. The invincible run. Many memories of me as a United fan seeing Arsenal. पिछले 15 साल में Arsenal are there. They have existed. ठीक है? They have not done anything worthwhile. And then with ESL, to rub shoulder to shoulder with the likes of Madrid, Barcelona, AC Milan, Manchester United, who are, I'll not use the right word would be, who are much bigger than Arsenal as a football club in itself. What right does Arsenal have here? Just because you can generate more money, or Stan Kroenke has got another big card where he can just throw and say, "Bhai, ye mera jagah hai." You are the same club who started furloughing staff because paisa nahi hai karke, right? Then suddenly, bhai, itna matlab, from what basis did you get the right to get into ESL?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, there are a few things here. So firstly, Arsenal, they are, as you said, their marketability is there. But I think one of the main reasons is they need 15 clubs who are going to be the founding members and who are going to be fixtures. So now they need 6 clubs from England, but there are no other clubs who has as much global outreach, as much social media engagements as Arsenal. So even if you see AC Milan,
that is legacy, that is legacy which you built.
That is legacy.
20, 25
even if you see AC Milan has not been in the Champions League for I think 10 years now. Okay, AC Milan has not been there and they have also not been finishing top 3 or top 4. Inter has also been quite bad in the middle. Okay, so if you talk about that, for Spurs, I think they did that documentary with Amazon. They built a new stadium. They got Mourinho, they got Bale, and I think that was that. But for Arsenal, I think you can make a case that they have the marketability, because even though Arsenal have not been getting great results on the pitch, surprisingly, maybe due to Arsenal Fan TV, their social media following has been going up off the pitch. The merchandise sales have not reduced, and also the social media engagements, they have been going up increasingly. So I would say that Arsenal definitely have the marketability. There is another factor. The previous CEO of Arsenal, Ivan Gazidis, so he is currently at AC Milan. So he was one of the main guys who started this.
I think he sold up his shares, right? He sold up his most part of shares of Arsenal, and then he bought another bigger chunk stake in AC Milan.
Yeah, so he was not having any shares at Arsenal, but he got shares at AC Milan, so he left. So the thing is that this is the guy who founded MLS. Not founded, but he is the one who made MLS what it is today. From nothing, ground up, he's the one.
Let's say Lalit Modi of MLS. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So he Perez and all these guys, they are the ones who have been going around for this Super League for a long time. So Arsenal already had a foot in the door. So many people are saying, who sent Arsenal the invite? So I would say Arsenal are the ones who sent out the invites, basically. So
Anish, I like what you just said, but Viv, I'm straight away getting to Viv before I go to Faraz and Shreyas. Viv, I'll tell you my disconnect with the whole statement. He just mentioned Arsenal and AC Milan in one breath. That's my disconnect there. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. AC Milan have been poor in Europe. But man, that's a mammoth club. That club has got Champions Trophy as it is champion. They are legacy in terms of Champions Trophy. I mean, you can't run them out. It's like saying that, when you talk about Champions League, you always say Cristiano Ronaldo because he is Mr. Champions League. Just because he didn't qualify this year, you are not going to say he's a bad player because, arey yaar, wo to Porto se matlab bahar ho gaya Juventus. For me personally, AC Milan were the identity of Champions League, right? You talk about the likes of great Milan defenses, etc., etc. But when you just mentioned in the same breath as Arsenal, just because of ownership, because of Gazidis, that's where my disconnect came. Matlab, if I own the club, then I inherit the greatness. Is it how it works, Viv? Is that what you think?
Of course not. I mean, the thing is that, like, I was listening to what Anish was saying, and I heard like there like 2 words actually really struck me. Like, one is social media engagement and marketability. I am like, where is football, man? Where is football? Arsenal doesn't deserve to be in Europe on footballing basis. AC Milan has not been playing in Europe purely on footballing basis. Are we going to play football on the basis of marketing or social media engagement?
Wow. Fair point.
Are we going to do that?
Anish or Faraz, you can take this question answer to the question what Viv asked. Because he's right? Don't you think so? You judge a team whether they're good enough to qualify for Europe or not. If you ask me personally, Man United is not good for Champions League. That's why we are out. That's why we got beaten by Leipzig. That's why we got beaten by PSG. That's why we got beaten by a better team by the name Istanbul Başakşehir. It was one mistake, agreed. We were not good enough. That's why we are not in the Champions League. But suddenly when you bring marketing, merchandise, revenue, where is football
Social
there?
media engagement.
Yeah, sorry, social media engagement. My bad. I missed that word. Faraz or Anish, either of you can take it up.
Yeah, okay. So just for Arsenal, I can tell you. So one thing is, it's not just that the football is completely gone, because Arsenal have made two European semi-finals in the last 4 years and one European final. Of course, it's Europa League, but they still beat teams like Milan, Valencia, Napoli.
Anish, you are an Arsenal fan. You know what it means to win
that's
anything.
Fine. But the key point here is that the ESL is made to make money, as you said at the start. Okay, that is one of the biggest reasons. And so marketability and social media outreach do matter. Arsenal fans are going to tune in and watch all over the world. Okay, there's your money. That's where the sponsorship comes from. They are not going to tune in from Leicester.
Anish, one question. I'll just move to Faraz here. He said the word for us, right? Marketability, social media engagement. I know a club which is currently managed by Phil Neville and owned by David Beckham. Give it 2 years' time. They would have bigger reach than Arsenal as a football club has in their history. Okay, because of two United guys. There is Gonzalo Higuain who's playing there. Okay, sooner or later, Luis Nani will sign for them. Then you talk about marketability. Then can I put Inter Miami FC in the same line as Arsenal, AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, Manchester United, Real Madrid, Barcelona? Okay, I'm not putting Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, Inter Miami are already bigger than them, but whatever. Just my point is this, right? Are you okay with it then? If Inter Miami comes in and rubs shoulders because they are going to give us money, right?
Ultimately, we are all mostly focusing on European clubs, which is why we are not considering the South American clubs or the North American clubs for that matter. So, geography का factor अगर पकड़ेंगे तो फिर Inter Miami, for now at least, is out of the window. आगे का सच में मुझे नहीं पता, to be very honest.
But नहीं, Faraz, fair enough. Hypothetically भी सोच लेना तू कि जब तू पैसे की बात कर रहा है, जब तू सोशल मीडिया रीच एंगेजमेंट बात कर रहा है, if you give Inter Miami FC time, you know, right? You know the pull of David Beckham. As a Madrid fan, you know what he did for your club just because of sales of shirt and the iconic Jordan jersey which he wore, right? You know that gentleman can generate money out of nothing. He's still the 6th or the 7th most followed footballer in an era where there is Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Haaland, all these sort of guys. He's still the biggest footballing celebrity. And on top of it, he's got Phil Neville, Gonzalo Higuain, all these sort of players who have rich history of fan between them as well. तो मतलब थोड़ा टाइम में तुम इंटर मायामी भी यही बेसिस पे आ सकता है ना?
देखिए प्रशांत, currently are we not already doing things of monetizing football in this manner? Are we not having Spanish Super Cup matches in Miami? Are we not having Spanish Super Cup matches
right?
in Saudi Arabia? Last year, वहाँ पे last season जहाँ पे रोनाल्डो अपना यही जर्सी उठा के फेंका था, Miami. Last season Fede Valverde टैकल मारा था last season actually. Saudi Arabia. Next season भी 22 में भी Saudi Arabia. तो मतलब ये contracts आ रहे हैं. We are already monetizing across Europe. तो मतलब this shouldn't really come as a shocker. We are already playing European games outside Europe. Even Italian Super Copa बाहर हो रहा है. मेरा throughout point यही है कि जो situation आ रहा है, जो gulf in class आ रहा है between the top clubs and the other clubs, wherein मैं examples भी cite कर सकता हूँ, आप लोगों को पता है. Juventus ने 8 बार लीग जीता. Paris ने 9 में से 8 बार लीग जीता. They didn't win in 17, right? Who won in 17? Monaco won in 17. Who was their best player?
Mbappe.
Where is he playing right now?
PSG.
खत्म बात. ये मोनेटाइज पेरिस भी कर रहा है. बायर्न म्यूनिख ने भी 8 लीग जीतने वाला है इस साल. Where do we draw the line? 10वीं लीग पे, 15वीं लीग पे, 20वीं लीग पे, कहां? एक गल्फ इन क्लास थ्रू आउट ही मेंटेन्ड है, राइट? और लीग्स आर आल्सो डूइंग दिस मतलब न्यू इनोवेशन ऑफ जनरेटिंग मनी बाय प्लेइंग गेम्स इन डिफरेंट कॉन्टिनेंट्स, राइट?
जैसे प्री सीजन ही एक मार्केटिंग गिमिक है. प्री सीजन ही यूएस में जाके खेलते हैं.
हाँ, तो हम लोग ऑलरेडी ये कर रहे हैं. आई एग्री विद दैट. हम लोग ऑलरेडी ये कर रहे हैं. तो यही चीज एक ड्रास्टिक मेथड में आ रहा है, तो इस पे इतना शॉक होने का क्या बात है? मतलब यू कैन अपोज अ सुपर लीग इन व्हाटएवर वे यू वांट टू, लेकिन एक बहुत ही डीपली इनकॉम्पिटिटिव स्टेटस को ग्लोरीफाई करना हमें बंद करना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम लोग उससे भी उतना ही हॉरिफाइड होंगे अगर वो भी अचानक आता, जितना हम लोग ESL से हॉरिफाई हो रहे हैं। जस्ट बिकॉज वो किस्तों में आया, ग्रेजुअली आया, वी आर नॉर्मलाइज्ड टू इट।
I'll just move to Shreyas. What Faraz said, he's made a valid case in the sense that ये तो काफी टाइम से हो रहा है. मतलब United playing in USA is not something shocking. We know every year we go to United States for the preseason friendly. That's because our owner is US based. And
not only preseason, not only preseason, we play competitive matches over there.
मतलब हमारा प्री सीजन ही होता है, बाकी कुछ टूर्नामेंट में आगे जाते नहीं है, तो कहीं और बाहर जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. बट हैविंग सेड दैट, Shreyas, whatever Faraz said, what is your rebuttal or counter to that? Right, he's right in that sense कि थोड़ा थोड़ा आ रहा था तो हम ले रहे थे, अब सडनली एक साथ डाल दिया है, तो ये बड़ा फंस है. Is it that why you're against ESL?
Faraz एकदम ठीक बोला. To be fair, he said that we are monetizing the game. Some clubs have been uncontrollably getting rich, which is absolutely true. PSG happened because we allowed PSG to happen. City is happening because FFP failed. But I am not particularly against these two teams for one reason. Would you prefer an owner pumping money into football, or would you prefer an owner pumping money out of football? Because pumping money, end of the day, what we're saying is we vilify PSG and City. These two clubs, by buying players, are also helping lower tier clubs. When they bought Mbappe for 180 million, this gave 180 million to Monaco at the same time. But let's not stray from the point. The point is very true. What Faraz said is that there has been uncontrollable rise in some teams. Juventus has been allowed to uncontrollably grow in Syria. There has been Bayern Munich का तो बात ही छोड़ दो. Bayern Munich क्या कर रहा है अपने लीग में, वो तो रिकॉर्ड तोड़ता है every week, कितना जल्दी खत्म करेंगे. Somehow is even PSG का. So it is not a normal, it is a natural trend. London clubs have become so much better in the last few years because London as a tourist spot has increased. PSG is in Paris, which is one of these are major contributing factors. आज UCL में I'm not going to see a Porto. It's not likely I'm going to see Porto go and win the Champions League. And this is a major concern in the Champions League format too, because we have essentially narrowed the people who could actually compete for it to 7 or 8 clubs.
Sorry to interrupt, Shreyas. I'm just giving you live news. Manchester United have officially confirmed they are pulling out of ESL. Ed Woodward has been resigned as the vice chairman and the CEO of Manchester United. Now, just to add to Shreyas's point, what he said, right? I'll go to Anish. If this was all good, like both of you rightly said, okay, and it made a valid sense in terms of money, everything. And do you really think it is because of the pressure from fans why these clubs decided to pull out?
Yeah, I think the fan pressure is right now too much, because I think that the footballing world maybe is right now not ready for this. So because the change is very drastic, I think I just saw the news that the European Super League has been called off. So I think that the world is not yet ready for this. So this is basically an American model of football, American model of sports, right? So we have the NBA, and in India also we have the IPL. But because there has been no predecessor for those leagues there, so there has not been any outrage. And maybe if it had been done in like phases, in steps, okay, maybe something like the International Champions Cup. Okay, you start with a friendly tournament where some fixed teams play, then you make it a little competitive like that. Maybe it would have been accepted, but right now, because of the drastic changes, they scared the fans. Then UEFA and FIFA announced that the players are not going to be able to take part in international tournaments, which completely turned the players. And another fear for the players is once they go to play for an ESL club, that they risk burning all bridges with the. Yeah, so that is why I think that it makes sense now to call it off, because there has been too much opposition, and I actually fear for the safety of those players if this was not called off, because you can see what's going on outside Chelsea's ground. Okay, next Arsenal are going to play, and if you can see the fan outrage right now, it's going to be very difficult for them. And Anish, not just
I rather fear for Roman Abramovich with Chelsea fans, not players. Chelsea fans will not touch players because they love the players more than what. I'll not.
Yeah, but today they blocked the bus, and Peter Cech nearly got beaten up today.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's because even in decision-making process, which fans expected that you are a player, you played this goddamn game. How can you make the decision? I'll move to Viv. Viv, whatever the news has come, ESL is called off, or whether it's not getting called off, whatever. I just want to know your final thoughts, in the sense that why is it so detrimental for football? Why do you think a Super League of this sort, where the rich of the richest, elite of the elite, playing and creating a league of their own, why is it detrimental? Like for us said, right? पहले भी हो रहा था मार्केटिंग, तो फुटबॉल को तो हमने कमर्शलाइज पहले भी किया था, अब लार्ज स्केल में हो रहा है, तो भाई क्या दिक्कत है?
I think I'll tell it from because I have always loved football more than my club. Football comes first, then probably comes Chelsea, Valencia, etc. So from a footballing perspective, I can tell you this. We were all discussing about the 12 teams and how they will earn the revenue and stuff like that. But let me tell you this thing. This was not about Madrid. It's about, this thing is detrimental for the clubs which are not Real Madrid. That's the main issue here. The clubs which actually dream to be Real Madrid. It's monopolizing the sport. If you you are forming a league where there is no relegation, you are basically guaranteed a spot. Like that means, you are afraid of the competition, and competition is what we, we thrive on.
That's is sport, right? That is sport. When the underdog comes out and beats the favorite.
Of course, we want a Leicester story. Yeah. We want a Nottingham Forest story. That's it. That's what we love seeing that. No matter which clubs we support, that's what this football is all about. We don't want that to get lost.
Are you simply trying to say about Porto versus Chelsea versus Madrid in a very sly manner, saying that by Chelsea, bhai wapas ek bar Madrid ko hara do?
No, I'm really pissed off at Chelsea. I started watching Chelsea and Valencia since the 2001. They were like, the two clubs were almost of the similar stature back then, coming third, fourth in the league. Valencia was going into went to Champions League final. Chelsea was still struggling to get into Europe.
You're talking the Rafa Benitez era of Valencia, right?
Yeah, Claudio Ranieri, Rafa Benitez. Claudio Ranieri, yeah. So Valencia then won the league. Chelsea then suddenly got Roman Abramovich's money, and then suddenly going. And then the two clubs, went into different ways. Valencia struggled. Valencia went into debt, and then Chelsea became successful. So I can completely understand what.
So you know the highs and you know the lows.
Yes, absolutely. So I can understand what the fans of clubs other than these 12 are feeling right now. I completely understand their perspective, their point of view. You watch, this series that came, Sunderland Till I Die, or the league. Yeah. You see club-based support, what is all about.
You see the local community waiting for that weekend where a shopkeeper works for 5 days a week, saves that limited money, goes to the stadium, buys a ticket, and then waits for that. Yaar, wo ek goal, wo 3 point. That is going to make my life so much more beautiful.
Exactly.
Not the money.
Their life revolves around that club. It doesn't matter. Manchester doesn't matter to them. Chelsea doesn't matter to them. Sunderland matters to them. So you have to think about those people. Those clubs also are part of the football community. And I am glad, the supporters of Manchester, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Barcelona all came forward together and vehemently opposed this. Vehemently opposed this, and I'm really glad that at least Manchester pulled out of ESL, and let's see how things pan out later.
Yeah, fair. For us, last question: did Madrid fans also make a riot for this ESL, saying that nahi humko nahi khelna, or was it all? I didn't read anything about Madrid fans making a fuss about it.
Not on the ground, no. Social media on and off for it.
Social media
not on the ground as in live
stadium ke bahar.
I don't think so, to my knowledge. Okay. I don't think so. Maybe wrong. But to my knowledge, no.
I just wanted to was very curious. I've seen, like we've said, I've seen all the other clubs, and I didn't see about Madrid or AC Milan fans. Dekha nahi maine, so I just thought to ask. Having said all of this, I just want to bring to your notice that I did not ask you about players. I did not ask you about what's their national ambitions, etc. And there's a reason why I didn't ask you. And the reason why I didn't ask you is because, like Faraz rightly said, कुछ clarity नहीं है. तो मैं हवाई बातें भी नहीं करना चाहता कि आप ESL खेलोगे तो आप बैन हो जाओगे. I don't want to bring that, because after Perez's statement yesterday, he said that I assure you that no one will be banned. I have faith in that man, in the sense that whatever he says, he'll pull it off. Because of that, I didn't ask you any questions regarding fans. But One last question before I actually let you guys all go, right? ESL, whatever happens, yes, no, right? I'm going to ask you individually, what is your biggest joy of following the sport? Anish, I'll start with you. What makes you love football so much? Forget your club. I mean, you can say Invincibles, whatever. But I'm just telling you, what made you fall in love for football so much?
So I think that what I would say is watching the Premier League has been very big joy in my life. But it's not just that. So when I was younger, I would be watching, starting with the Premier League in the towards the afternoon and evening, going for the La Liga matches by the night when the night ends. So that feeling of forgetting everything and completely getting immersed in that world. Okay, outraging also, and also feeling elated. But whatever it is, even when my team are losing, my team are winning, even when I'm sad, but you forget the rest of the world. You forget all the other things in your life, and that is what the biggest joy for me in following football.
Fair. Viv, I mean, I'll not use the word, you're not the oldest, I'll not put it that way, but Viv, you've been following football for 10, 20 years now. Like you rightly said, more than that, right? What makes you fall in love with the sport so much? Is it just the underdog story, or is it something bigger than that?
I think, not only the underdog story. How can I put it? I think, I fell in love with football since the 1994 World Cup. I started following international football first, and the reason I started following Chelsea and Valencia was because there were most number of Argentines playing there. So I remember, when I saw, the likes of Brazil winning a trophy, or France winning a trophy, or even the losing team. You see, the champions are also crying and the losing team is also crying. You feel, you see those emotions coming out from the fans, from the players. That's something, it can't be described.
You're right.
It's an emotion for me. It's an emotion.
Even sometimes when I see Pablo Aimar on the Argentine bench somewhere, no, I just think, man, if I had 1% of your passing skill, even I would have been a footballer, man. Because
how I don't know why did you pick Pablo Aimar, but Pablo Aimar is my favorite player.
I mean, for anyone who follows football for that long and who supports Valencia, there was a phase in life for everyone where so-called young footballers, young players who watch football today and think Lionel Messi is the greatest footballer to watch. Just go back, ask Lionel Messi, and see multiple interview. He will say that his most cherished dream, or the most prized possession he has even now, is a Pablo Aimar signed jersey which he has framed. And he said that on multiple forums. He said that because with Pablo Aimar, it was like an artist who just rubs it on the ball. It's like a paintbrush. And once the ball left Pablo Aimar's legs, you all know that it was either an assist or it was just a brilliant bloody pass.
Of course. And football is, I just put it like, it's an emotion. That's it. Even I'm a Mohun Bagan supporter as well. I've been to Calcutta derbies a number of times. And in the Salt Lake Stadium, the gallery is divided between the East Bengal supporters and Mohun Bagan supporters.
Correct.
And when you watch a derby and you sit there and you see the East Bengal score, and half of the stadium is erupting and you are sitting in silence, scared that we will lose. That's football. And then
the bragging rights, will it go to them, or will we go back home smiling? Whatever.
It's undescribable. You see half of the stadium erupting, and because East Bengal scored and your team is losing at that point, you are sitting silent. And then your team scores, and then you shout, and they are sitting all silent. These are these emotions are something,
which can't be mentioned. For us, your turn, man. I mean, you've been a Madrid fan, so you know the highs, you know the lows even more, but you also know the greatest of great victories. But my question is not the three-peat or La Decima or whatever. My question is very bare basic, right? What made you fall in love with the sport?
I started the first game which I watched, I was 7, right? And my grandfather made me watch that Brazil-France World Cup final 98. And I started liking Brazil despite them losing the game. Cut back 4 years down the line, I watched another World Cup. I didn't follow football much at that point of time. I saw all the all of my favorite clubs, Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Figo, Zidane, all of them playing for one club. I mean, it was fairly natural. Call me a glory hunter. Let it be that way. Every one of my favorite clubs are playing, favorite players are playing in one club. So following Real Madrid was a given for me. Right. बीच में मैं भी स्विच करना चाह रहा था बार्सिलोना में 2005 के टाइम में, लेकिन I went back to Real Madrid. तो उसके बाद से I have been consistent.
Good decision.
I accept 13-14 साल का तो उतना idea नहीं था.
Good decision,
the best decision.
Yeah, fair.
Absolutely.
You are the
overall for football. Overall for
sorry.
football, मतलब एक कैनवस टाइप का है, ब्लैंक कैनवस टाइप का है. प्लेयर्स को एक सिंपल सा टास्क दिया गया है, बॉल को गोल के अंदर रखने के लिए. एक सिंपल सा टास्क दिया गया है. लेकिन इतने सारे प्लेयर्स, इतने सारे मैनेजर्स ने इसी कैनवस को इतने तरीके से पेंट किया है. इतना तरीका है. Infinite number of ways to play beautiful football.
Fair.
खाली टिकी टाका नहीं है, बहुत तरीका है to play beautiful football. And
I like the dig. I like the dig. ठीक है, I understood. I like the dig. Subtle dig समझ गया मैं. False nine टिकी टाका ठीक है. Fair. But Shreyas, I want to ask you this question more importantly, because you like we mentioned it, you are the youngest. For us, I'm not counting me, but for Wave, the memory is 94 World Cup. So you can guess the age, whatever you want to do. But for us, said 98 World Cup. Anish talked about talking about a Premier League game and Madrid, or La Liga game, whatever. For you, Shreyas, why do you like or why do you love football so much? It's just like the English press famously once called it, right? It's just a round thing and 11 stupid men run behind it. They didn't say 22, they just said 11.
Absolutely. So mine is a bit more anecdotal. My father, I used to live in Manchester for a deal of my childhood, and my father had gone to see he was not a United fan at that point of time. He went to see with a then United fan of his, who was a family friend, United. His first memory, and I still remember this happened 20 years back. His first memory is Ryan Giggs falling down, picking up his crouching, pulling up his socks, and then running back. And he still tells it to me 20 years later. United has been on and off in my house since then, every day. It just happened. You can't do anything. You're watching the same thing for over 5 years. I mean, it's subconsciously playing ahead in your head. I got to love United like that. That's why I don't have a national team loyalty. I constantly change. I've been Belgium for around 6-7 years now. I will probably change to England after a while. But United has been constant because I've been part of the community. I've actually been a part of the community. I still see the glow in my father's eyes. He has very, very bad opinions at times. I mean, I shouldn't be saying this, but boomer लोग का होता है थोड़ा वैसा. But
ठीक है, ज्यादा हो गया तो अभी डिग ले रहा है वेवर मेरे लिए, तो मत बोल, बूमर नहीं है.
But ठीक है, वही, it's for me, magic can happen. People who follow me in FIOB know I'm a very numbers guy. I love stats and everything. But football has a magic which is unparalleled. I mean, whatever happens, you come back to Rashford scoring that penalty in Paris. You're not going to see that again. I will not see that again. That isn't a very big landmark in football. But for me, it stays with me because I stayed up till 3 o'clock in a day when I did not expect anything to happen to see that. And I cried that day because everything was out. This is what football is for me. Something you don't expect something and you get something out of it. That is exactly what the sport is.
Fair enough.
It's the common man sport.
Yeah, fair enough. And I'll just tell you my memory of why I love football so much, right? On a day where nothing goes right, when nothing seems to be working on your way, you go back to your friend's place, you take the ball, you go out, you start kicking, you try and score, you nutmeg him, you do something. There is a different joy and you are devoid of any pleasures or, practical difficulties of life. My earliest memory with football was watching a guy, long-haired guy, was doing like this and he crossed the ball from the right wing. He was named as David Beckham. I still follow him on Instagram and I almost message him every other day saying a good pick. Of course, I know he's not going to reply to me, but that was my memory of childhood saying what football did. But before I actually end the podcast, I would just like to end with a simple message. When I ask this question to all of you, none of you use the word social media engagement. None of you use the word marketing. None of you use the word anything related to money in terms of football. All of you went down to your bare basics, bare nature of why you love the sport. This is exactly where I want to end the podcast, saying that if you can always go back to your earliest memories, earliest pure emotion of why you love the sport, is there a need to really commercialize it just because your club is facing debt? Having said all of this, I really hope that we all had a fun time talking to each other, because I honestly had a fun time, because It's very rare that we have two different set of people talking on an issue. Usually, Naito, we always see a Real Madrid, Barcelona, Suarez better than Lewandowski, etc., sort of post in the world football. But this has been a very enriching discussion for me, and above all, I've learned a lot from you people, and I really hope you had a good time, because personally I did. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. It was a pleasure talking to you.